Hello, am I speaking Vietnamese or am I speaking English?
Cậu nói tiếng gì cũng được.
Oh my god!
How colorful.
Let's see. Can I see?
Yeah.
Let me read.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Homie Highlights, a show where I invite and highlight my good friends, my homie, and their stories. Today we have a very, very special guest, my good friend of 15 years and fellow creator.
15 years?
15 years.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I did the counting last
Okay,
night.
15 years it is, people. More than a decade.
Okay, Miss Lee, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
So, hi, my name is Lee. I'm Vietnamese and I have been studying and living in the UK for the last 10 years. Currently working there, but I am back home right now in Vietnam, in Hanoi, to visit my friends and family.
What brings you home this March? Because you're usually not here in March.
It's for a friend's wedding, actually.
Yeah.
And she's been friends with me from when I was 3 or 4 years old because she's like my neighbor. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why I decided to go back to be obviously one of her bridesmaids at her wedding. Pretty much.
And you're actually friends with the groom as well. Oh, we're both actually friends with the groom.
Yeah, friends with the groom. But I would say I'm more really close friend with the bride. It just happens that they met via me.
So you have been in the UK
For 10 years,
for
yes.
10 whole years.
Yeah, and I would say this may sound ridiculous to most people, but I do love the UK weather, believe it or not. I know people say that it's very gloomy, it's very cold, and it's rainy most of the time, but when it's like warm, it's not like muggy. The humidity is just very low. So, and I really like that about the UK. And honestly, since I first moved to the UK, I said that to every single one of my British friends, and they all looked at me and they thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
But they liked what I said because I was being honest.
So how old were you when you moved to the UK?
When I was 14.
14.
Wait, no, sorry, my bad. 16. That was in 2014.
Yeah.
That's why I got them mixed up.
And you went to sixth form, right? A-levels?
Yeah, I did A-levels for 2 years in Bath, and then I did 4 years at university. While in that 1 year, I was working as well, and then 1 year master, and then I started working from then on. And I wouldn't change it because I actually really like the UK. You know me pretty well, but obviously I'm not, having preconceptions about everyone out there. But as a single child, I'm pretty spoiled by my parents, especially me. So I think when I move out of my own comfort zone, I grew up a lot more. Mm-hmm. Loads of people, obviously, they can be different. They can be independent from the get-go since they were young. But for me, it's not the case because they spoiled me too much as a kid. In a good way, obviously, because I like it, all attention on me. But I think that really helped with growing a lot more because you move to a different city where you have to make friends on your own. But I also develop my English too. And, just learn how to be a little bit more independent and not always rely on my parents too much. I was 3 years in Exeter and 1 year working in London. And then after that, I moved to London again to do my master in finance, which, I don't know if I should be saying this to everyone on your channel, but it was kind of hell because it was during COVID and everything was online. If I could do it with face-to-face, studying, it would have been a lot better. A lot better. I could have had friends who, still live in the UK and not all of my friends literally left the UK and just decided to move back home.
Wait, did they continue the program online like you did, or they just dropped out of the program?
They did continue the program, but they all decided to move back to home because everything was hitting quite hard for them. They were my really good friends who helped me out at the LSE. They were just great friends. It's just that they were India, Switzerland, France, or China, which they all decided to move back home. And obviously personal situations with their family too.
So you did your master's in finance.
Yeah.
How did you choose to get into finance?
It's gonna be a very long story. So it all started from A-levels, actually. I did economics at A-levels, and my teacher, who was a deputy principal at the time of the school, is very, very, very good at teaching economics, okay? And he made it so interesting to the point where, obviously, at first, I wasn't even considering, studying economics. It's just the way that he explained things that made me so interested into it. So that's why I did economics at university. And then when I did economics at university, another lecturer, extra modules in economics that's related to finance, because of him, I also got interested to finance, and then I got an internship at Lloyd's Bank and then at Morgan Stanley because of it. And then that's how I got into it. But I feel like it wasn't like most people where they grew up with the dad who works in finance, or like they suddenly read a book and it's like, oh, magically appear for them. For me, it's like, it was the lecture I had at school. I know this sounds stupid, but like it was literally like my personal statement. Whenever I write like, my cover letter, I always mention the lecturer. This is like what I want to do because, he made me like a lot more intrigued about the subject more than I thought I would be. It's kind of all linked, I would say. I feel like my decisions on certain stuff are really just based on the people that I met and who helped me out through this process. It wasn't just like I suddenly like found my way through life. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. It's like you find your people. You find people that you resonate with.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been working in finance now for a couple of years in London, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you also mentioned that you had like a really good boss.
I'm currently working in a private equity fund, and my boss, he studies math at Cambridge University. And I'm saying that because he's like a very smart person. But sometimes a smart person doesn't mean that they're going to be a good boss.
Yeah.
And he's very kind. He's very nice. And like when I first joined, I joined during COVID. He would spend like 2 or 3 hours like helping me doing stuff, or like helping me like understanding stuff. That's why I started to really appreciate him from the get-go. Because he would never say, oh yeah, I have a meeting, I have to go. Or like, oh, I have to do this, I have to go. He will always say, do you understand this yet? It's just like how you understand it. And then he will see if you actually understand it, and then he'll move on. He wouldn't just speak to you like 1,000 words and then expect you to understand and then just move on. Yeah, he always double check with you. And that's why I really appreciate him. And if he gives me something, he usually thinks that it's essential to do. But if he thinks like a request from someone is a useless piece of work that would waste everyone's time and doesn't add any value, he would kind of help me push back. I mean, I didn't ask him to. He just automatically do it. Like he said, oh, I'll email that person. And then I will be like, oh, I really appreciate it, but I don't mind doing it. And then he'll say, no, I think it's a complete nonsense for you to do this. Okay, thank you. So, that's why I mean he's a good boss. He's understanding.
That's so neat to have like someone who has been like in the industry longer than you, and to let what you should do, what you don't need to do.
Yeah.
So you have a great boss. What do you think of like working in finance in general? Do you see yourself like working it long term?
I would say the reason why I'm staying in this job is because of my boss. That's like my honest opinion. And I feel like if he were to leave, I would actually like leave the firm as well.
Yeah.
And I think people do know this, so this is like public knowledge already. It sounded like I'm so desperate, but if I move to another firm, there's a very low chance that there'll be someone else like him.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether like finance is for me in the sense that if I'm only relying on the fact that my boss is good, what about the other aspect of the job? If I say to you right now, the reason why I'm staying at my job because, oh, my job is very interesting and stuff like that. I didn't say that. I said, my boss is very nice to me. So it's very different. But obviously loads of people have the reverse story where they had interesting job, but like they had a shit time with the manager. Yeah. And they wanted to quit for so long, but they can't because they had to be sponsored for visa. Yeah. So they are living hell, like they're going through a lot. And I actually feel lucky-ish because someone is nice to me. So I guess it depends on what I value more. But I don't know if finance is a longer term thing for me unless I need cash to be a stable source of income. And I feel like that is what most people would do these days as not as a backup, but more like if you need money, that's what you would go for. And deep down, people don't say this, but they might not like their actual job, but they can only do it for the money, I would say. And they don't really say it out like, oh yeah, like I totally hate my job, but I'm just doing this for money. A lot of people feel that way, but they just don't say it out loud. Whereas for me, I'm lucky because, my boss is very nice to me. But it doesn't mean that I enjoy every single aspect of my job. Longer term, I'm not sure. Like, it's not what I want to think about 24/7. Okay. Yeah. And I feel like if I want to work in a job that is going to take 80% of my time during the day, I might as well like be really interested in it or just don't do it. Yeah. So.
Fair enough. And how many years have you been living in London now?
4.5.
Wow. That's a decent amount of time. What I've heard about London is that London is not for the faint of heart. It's a
Okay.
very quick city. So how do you find life in London?
I actually agree with what you said, but I actually love living in London. You know, because I was born as a city girl.
Yeah.
So I like that busy life and I like doing a lot of things with my friends. So living in London so far has been pretty good, except for the fact that whenever I have to commute to work, that's a bit of a hassle because I usually travel at peak time. And that was the only downside to living in London. And, you know, I love food, and me and my friends, we would go out, and obviously my boyfriend, we would go out every week. There's just so much in London to try and do, you know, like karaoke, pool, or like watching movies and like going out with your friends. I like to do a lot of that stuff. There's a big like Asian community there. So there's a lot of Asian shops and Asian things that I would like to do or like be a part of. Whereas in the other like cities that I've been in Bath or like in Exeter, I would be bored within like the first 2 years of being there because there's not much to do. Obviously, when I moved to London, it was during COVID. So I didn't get to do much for the first year and I was so distraught by that. But after that, like when things were open, everything is like back to normal again. Honestly, I had the best time. So I really enjoy living in London and I don't see myself moving out of London until quite a while. Maybe until I start a family, but it's different for everyone. People will like the quietness as well. But if you want to do things while you can, you know, before you start a family, you know, that's where you want to be, right? Well, I mean, that's how I am. Like I go out like literally 2 or 3 times per week. But I don't mean like clubbing. I just mean like go for a drink, a meal.
So you're in central London?
Yeah, central London.
basically.
All of my friends are in central London.
That's so convenient.
And all of my work colleagues that are below 30s are also in central London because it's easier to commute to work and it's easier to live your life. Because once you're outside of London, that's like, it takes ages to get into central London. Like my boss, for example, it takes him like 2 hours to get into work and by train.
That's such a dedication to like commute 2 hours each way.
To have that, you must have the mentality of you want to start a family, like you're willing to commit to that kind of like traveling every day.
When I was in America, I had an internship in Boston.
Yeah.
And one of the full-time employees there, he actually commuted from a different state every day and took him 2 hours. So he would like drive to the train station in Rhode Island and then he'd take the train from Rhode Island to Boston and then take a bike from the train station from in Boston to where we worked.
That's commitment, you see. Like, I don't have that kind of energy. I have enough energy to live inside central London, but that's it. Like, no more. When I feel ready to move out of London is when I say, oh, London's too much for me. But I don't think I say that at all. If anything, I love London.
Yeah.
Even though it's a lot more expensive than it used to be to do a lot of things. But for me, the benefits just outweigh the cost way too much. I would not want to move out at all.
That makes me really want to go visit you in London now.
I feel like it's my second home, say, comparing to Hanoi, because I love Hanoi so much.
And then you come home about like what, once a year, right?
To, you know, visit my families because I love it. And I'm not saying that I mainly go back for the food, but honestly, whenever I go with my friends, I eat food like constantly.
Yeah.
And I because one, it's so much cheaper comparing to London. Say if you eat a bowl pho here, like a solid, like a massive one, it costs you about, it's not even £3, it's like $2.50 or something with some fried dough stick on the side.
And then like
and with extra herb and stuff and with a drink, okay?
Yeah.
But in the UK, that would like be really good for me. That's like £14.
£14?
Yeah, and the dough stick would be like $2.50 for one.
£14 is criminal.
It is what it is, but if you live there and if you earn the money there, obviously it's still going to be very expensive, but sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like if you can't go back home for, you know, whatever reason, you just have to like stuck up to it.
Because you only get to see your family like once a year.
Yeah.
Maybe twice on a good year.
Yeah.
Who keeps you grounded in the UK?
What do you mean by grounded?
Because like you're so far away from home. Do you ever feel like homesick?
That's a great question. When was the last time I feel really homesick?
So I'll be honest with you, like I did not feel homesick when I went abroad for school, but I only went for 4 years.
Yeah. I think I did feel very homesick when I was super stressed out about my finals. After all of my finals at university, usually I would go straight back home. But leading up into it, because it's like constantly studying night and day, just to like pass your finals. 3 weeks leading up to my exam is like the most homesick I ever got.
Yeah.
But only because I know for one fact I'm gonna head home after. But because of that, I kept thinking, oh, like what am I gonna eat? Like list of things to eat, list of things to do, who I'm gonna see, how I'm gonna spend my time with my parents. That's all. Just before my finals, I go a bit crazy.
Who's your best friend?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know if I should like. I'll say Mitch. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say my boyfriend.
This was what I was trying to segue into because you said you wanted to talk about it.
No, yeah, okay. No, Mitch is my best friend by default because he lives with me. So Mitch is not just my best friend; he's also my boyfriend. We've been together for almost 3 years now, and next week is our 3-year anniversary.
And you're here.
But I decided to. Basically, what happened was I was meant to go back to the UK to celebrate 3 years anniversary with him.
Yeah.
But I decided that it's probably best if I stay a little bit longer to spend time with my friends and family here. Anyway, he knew that, so we're going to celebrate the week after. Yeah, we've been together for almost 3 years, and we met on Hinge, which is a very popular dating app at the time during COVID and post-COVID era. But now the dating app scenes are a lot less because it's phased out from the whole COVID period. I don't know how people date these days anymore, but apparently online dating is not really a thing anymore in the UK, in London.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyway, so how I met him, we actually only went on 10 dates with each other before we became boyfriend and girlfriend. And I know it sounds really quick. And doing that 10 dates was like within a span of 1 month.
Okay.
So it wasn't long. But I think we were just kind of sure that we were meant to be like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
Our first day was actually out at a pub from 3 p.m. to like 11 p.m. until we got kicked out. And we were just talking. I just remember the conversation was going on so well. And honestly, when I tell this story to everyone, they were so shocked because they will always say, what the hell is your first day? Why you talk so much? Or like, oh, it's only the first day. Why you went so hard? And I was like, but I was just chatting, and if it goes well, it's go well. If not, then I'll just go home. And I was glad that he wasn't like a kidnapper or like a catfish. No.
That's fair.
You never know, because I feel like people don't say this enough, or like, people do get catfish and like get scammed. I think it's going very well. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. Otherwise, he would have joined.
He would have.
Well, I don't know, but he's a bit of a.
So for context, Lee is also a creator.
So after work, I'll go home, chill for like 5 minutes max, and then start cooking, and sometimes video until very late. So me and my boyfriend, we live together, and I cook everything in the house. I cook every day. Well, not every day, excluding the days that we go out. And he's very understanding, because if he's hungry, okay, like he has to be understanding, and he will have to wait until I finish filming to eat. So in the past, there were times where we eat at 9:30 or like 10. Normal people would be like, oh, you just want a quick 20-minute meal and just being done and dusted and then just chill for the evening. For me, it's like I spend those hours like filming because I like it. But having someone that understands it, like it's nice.
It's very supportive.
Yeah, he's very supportive of it. And he was actually the one to tell me to start the damn channel. Like, it wasn't me. The name wasn't Lee Raised a Fridge at first.
Yeah.
It was Little Fusion Cook, and that was his name.
Oh, it's a really cute name.
Yeah, no, so he did it, but then I feel like the more and more things I do, I was just like, I don't feel like I'm doing fusion cook at all. I just feel like I'm doing just random stuff like to clean up my fridge. So then I ended up saying, Mitch, we're changing the name. I'm so sorry, but baby, we gotta change it to Lee Raised the Fridge, because it's actually how it is. I rate my fridge and see what's like available in there.
I wanted to ask, like, what made you decide to start your channel? Because I know for me, like, it took like a while, like thinking about it and then like persuading myself into doing it.
So I didn't actually persuade myself. It's kind of odd because I mean, at the time I told him I really don't know if finance was for me in the longer term. That's what I told him. And he said, oh, like, but what do you enjoy the most? And I said, right now, honestly, cooking. And he was like, cooking, okay. So then we had a talk about it, and he was like, oh, why don't you just start like filming what you do? Because you never know these days, like social media can do a lot of crazy things. And I said, yeah, I'll think about it. I didn't want to act on it quite yet. Yeah. And then like my boyfriend kept asking, oh, like, what are you thinking about now? Like, what's going on? And I said, okay, like, I'll give it a go, but it doesn't mean that I will like do it in a longer term. I'll just see how it goes. And if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah.
So then that's how I did it. Like, it wasn't me at all. Like you can verify this later, verify this with him. Take a break. Sorry, everyone.
You're good. Do you want to sit here? The other leg so that it's like it evens out.
No, but not okay. Fair enough. Stop. Okay. Cậu không đau à?
Không, tại vì tớ ngồi thế này, với cả tớ ngồi khoanh chân.
So did I.
Không, cậu ngồi như thế này sao ấy? Cậu chắc phải ngồi lên bàn chân cậu ạ. Cậu ngồi thế này sao?
Oh no. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I really like making content, and I think as long as I'm happy, I think it should be okay.
But you enjoyed cooking like way before.
Yeah,
You started
so
filming it. So how did that start?
That's a great question because I didn't start properly cook until 4 years and a half ago. So my ex-flatmate, you met her before.
Yeah.
We met each other since like A-levels, and then we got close during university. And when I moved with her to London, she actually like bakes a lot.
Oh.
Like she can bake like super, super yummy cinnamon rolls and super, super yummy brownies. And I know I'm not a sweet tooth,
Yeah.
but for me, the quality was really good.
Yeah.
And even though I had like one roll, cinnamon roll, or like one brownie, I still loved it. You know me, I don't really like dessert, but like hers was really, really good. It was during COVID as well, and we spent cooking together. It wasn't like doing university because I was just way too busy to cook. Like at the time, like there was just a lot going on, doing like different stuff, doing different societies and like different career search and like different internships. I didn't really have time to even think about it. But like the moment I moved to London, I started working. I had more time to think about it, so that's how I started cooking. But I think because of her cooking and baking a lot at the time, like pushed me to try and do it too. On our second and third year living together, she said I actually cook a lot more than her at the time. So I told her, oh, you must have influenced me a lot then, because when I first moved in, you bake and cook a lot. And she's like, yeah, actually, yeah, that's it. Because she was also the one who, when I first moved in, had all of the cooking tools. I had one pan, a few plates, and a bowl, and some chopstick, and some spoon. That's it. But she had like a lot more. She had like 4 or 5 pans, different like tools for like certain things. So I got that from her. Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the era of you before you started cooking. As in, like, I love food.
Yeah.
I like eating good food. But I'm so lazy to get my butt into the kitchen to cook. So any advice for me if I want to like actually start enjoy cooking?
Well, I would start with the simple recipe, but you find flipping delicious.
Okay.
Because that's how I started it too. Because it was like, oh, is this going to take me like 30 minutes? Oh, I think the yummy part has to be like the most important thing. But I think yummy and easy first, and then you go harder as you go along. If you can't make the easy stuff, how can you make the more difficult stuff, I guess?
You know, when I was in college, I borrowed, I think, my friend's rice cooker.
Yeah.
And I had to cook it in the bathroom. I thought if I cooked it in the bedroom section of our dorm, like it would set off the fire alarm because of like the steam or the smoke.
Yeah.
So I'd have to cook it in like the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's
Which, like, looking back, it's not sanitary.
Yeah.
But I was the only one eating it.
Yeah.
I didn't get sick, so...
When I moved to London, we obviously have a very big kitchen, like a very open plan kitchen. So that's also why I'm more keen to cook if I have an actual space to do that. Whereas at university, and I used to live in a house of like 12 girls. So obviously some people will have not to cook and some people will have to cook like at a different time.
Yeah.
So I was more reluctant to cook. So move in with Caitlin, and obviously like there was 2 of us for like the whole kitchen. Why not, right? My boyfriend apparently has some salmon, some pork belly, and some chicken. So I said, okay, that's the first time ever I've heard him doing that, because I've never heard him try to make a salmon before. So we'll see how it goes. But he said that he needs to learn how to like cook it.
Maybe this can be like the time where Mitch and I learn to cook and you keep us both accountable.
No. But it's just people have different timeline. It's okay.
Yeah, no, but I would like to know how to cook well and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I can cook well. I don't necessarily enjoy the process yet.
Yeah.
But I would like to enjoy the process.
Oh, and this is the other thing that I have to mention as well, because I became extremely consistent in cooking, because I also have a partner that cleaned the dishes very well. Well, last time it took me like half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, whereas it took him 10 minutes and it's like spotted clean. So we agreed, since I moved in, that I'm going to cook the whole time and he's going to do the dishes. That's why it's also helped for me have a partner who's very understanding that he doesn't want me to do every single thing in the kitchen. So that's where the split of duties are.
I propose a group chat with the three of us, and then Mitch and I send in photos of what we cook.
A cook-off challenge.
My goal right now is like one new savory dish a week. That's it.
That's good.
Let's just start with that.
Well, so when did you start this? This week or?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I started last week. Come on. Okay, I see. What would be your first savory dish then?
Thịt ba chỉ xém cạnh. The pork is already in my fridge. Cooking it tomorrow. First basic Vietnamese dish.
Okay. My mom did ask me, like, low-key. She said, oh, if he didn't really want to try or eat a lot of things, it probably wouldn't work, right? I was like, yeah, nah, no way. Like, no way, because it's such a big thing for me. Food for sharing is always better.
Food has been a big part of your life ever since you were small.
I think you know, but I had a 6-month-old heart operation.
Yeah.
And for that first, 6 months, I was very sick, and I didn't consume anything at all. And no matter what my mom feed me, I would either throw up or cry constantly. And I turned out to be a very super, super, super skinny kid. But then obviously after the operation, around 1 year old, I started eating a lot. From then on, I gained a lot of weight. Imagine you couldn't eat for 6 months or 7 months, and then suddenly you can, and then it turns into a habit. So obviously I ate excessively for a very long time. And that's where I think the habit comes in. I used to be quite overweight, right? Yeah. And when I say overweight, I mean BMI of way above average. So 34 or 38 or something. Normal people 25, right? Now I'm 22 or whatever. But at the time, I didn't think about how it would affect my health, if I'm completely honest, because I was so much younger, right? I just eat what I can. I only decided to start focusing on my weight because I was moving to the UK. I'm not sure what clicks. I just know that because I'm moving to UK, I should probably take care of my health more. Obviously, right now, I'm still very much into food, but I just don't eat it excessively anymore.
So I guess your hunger and your eating is more regulated now.
If I'm not hungry, I wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
But if I'm hungry, then I will eat to a certain point. Unless the food is out of the world, then I would eat to a maximum amount, maybe more. But normally if it's okay, I will just eat until I'm full.
For me, I was stress eating so hard when I moved to the US for college.
Yeah.
So first semester I put on 10 kilograms.
That's not that bad.
In the first 3 months.
And
then at my peak, I was 20 kilograms from when I went to the US for the first time.
God damn. Okay. Yeah.
I ate.
What did you eat? Fried chicken or?
So my first year in college, we're eating in the dining halls, and it was buffet style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I ate buffet style for 1 whole year.
Yeah.
And I remember during orientation, we had 3 meals in the dining hall per day. And each meal I would eat 4 chocolate chip cookies. So 2 on the way in, 2 on the way out.
I could not do that.
And so the total of that day would be 12 cookies.
Yeah.
For a whole week, I would eat like that. And that's on top of other stuff. I guess I got used to the American portion sizes.
Yeah.
When I first came, if I bought a meal from a food truck,
yeah,
I would have to eat it over 2 meals.
Yeah.
But by the end of the first semester, I could finish the whole thing in one meal.
Yeah.
Within the first year, I had put on total 15 kilograms. And then during COVID, I was stuck in my apartment.
Yeah.
So I put on the last 5 kilograms. So that was 22.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting because it didn't work for me that way during COVID because I just had so many other things to think about, I guess.
And I had never put on weight that well when I first came to college.
Yeah.
So when my shirt started getting tight, my t-shirt started getting tight, I was oh my God, I must be swole. All this working out and sports I'm doing, my biceps must be so strong.
It must be so strong, get the gains. Yeah, that's it. Where are you now?
We cleared most of it. We have just a tiny bit left. So if we were to sum it up, what era of your life do you think you're in right now? Is it more health focused, career focused, relationships?
Oh, that's tough. Maybe health. I would say health because without health, I can't do other things.
Yeah.
And then I can focus on more balancing work and also doing my cooking content stuff because that's what I would like to do more. Yeah, I'm in my health era.
What is something exciting that you're looking forward to? Maybe something that you're currently working on. Could be anything.
This is a bit out of left field. So I mentioned that I've been in the UK for more than 10 years now. So this is to the UK government. I'm planning to apply for the kind of like settlement or like green card end of next year. Because I read the rules recently and they only allow you to apply if it's not more than 548 days leave of absence. That's September 2016 to 14th of April 2024.
Okay.
You're not allowed to exceed 548 days.
Yeah.
But then after that, you on any rolling calendar, you can't exceed more than 180 days.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the problem was because I left the country during COVID for 172 days. In total, that casts up to like 600 something. Like say some of my international friends were very unlucky because of COVID.
Yeah.
I'm just going to speak about this because it was just wild how it all happened because some of my friends was in the UK for like 7 or 8 years, whatever. Yeah. The whole situation for COVID like cancelled completely because they left the country for a year and a half or 2 years.
That
completely resets the whole thing. Okay, first, you're not allowed to be more than 180 days out. They already way past that and they passed it like twice.
So 180 days at a time?
Yeah, in any calendar as well.
Okay.
On top of the 548 days thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they cancel it and they cancel it. So one of my friends, for example, had to start from counting from 2022.
Oh, God.
Even though she started like 2015 or something, take it away. So she has to wait until
32.
Well, it depends on calculation, but it most likely around 2029 or something like that. They broke the rule and like they have to reset the whole thing. Mm-hmm. The government do have some like special clauses to it, but not everyone's get granted it because it was such like a special time. I really do feel for my friends, you know, like people do leave the country for good reasons, right? Like they didn't want to stay, but yeah, so I'm gonna apply for that like next year when I'm more qualified. So I did the Life in the UK test and I passed it.
Oh, like the 50 questions?
I actually passed it.
Congratulations.
So I passed it and yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to apply and then obviously get the British passport like about like a year after. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was just saying it's just such a crazy thing for international students to be expected to, you know, like stay in the country when your whole family and your whole extended family is like outside of the country. But anyway.
Life is pretty good as is. Besides the bureaucracy.
Besides the bureaucracy, yeah. So I'm currently on skilled worker visa because my firm sponsored it for me. But I would like to be where I can be a little bit more independent. Literally, if I get fired next day, I will have to leave the country ASAP, right?
Okay.
Because no sponsor and no job. And like each year, they have to pay like a certain like immigration surcharges to keep you on the payroll or something. Yeah. So on top of that, they pay your bonus and they pay your base salary, basically. So it's like a lot of money for them already. Mm-hmm. I would like it to be a little bit more independent of what things I can do. It's just in case, like, you never know, like, things might go bust, you know? Like, you want to be able to, like, save your ass from, like, certain things happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to do that. That's all.
Well, I'm glad you don't have to ration your
No, I don't.
So I still get to see you.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Is there anything that we should have talked about that we haven't talked about yet? I feel like we covered a lot of fields.
I think we chatted for quite a while. How I look here?
This is a flattering angle. First. So cute.
I know I am. Hey, you're blocking me. Excuse me. The main character here.
But yeah, 1 is like chill, 2 is like deeper, and then 3 is like dirt.
Just random. Can you shuffle?
Yeah, maybe we can answer the same question.
What is the hardest thing you ever done in your life? Master in finance at the LSE. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Only because it was just the level of expectations that the school had on us was just wild. And no matter how hard I study, I could never keep up with the rest of the class. Eventually I did because a lot of friends helped me out a lot. Yeah. But without them, I think I would have failed the whole year.
Hardest part is over.
For now.
For now.
And then the next thing you know, I will say another hardest thing in my life. Stay tuned.
Okay.
What about you? You haven't answered. That's cheating.
Hardest thing I've done in my life. Not like the hardest thing, but like I think the time where I struggled the most would probably be 2 instances, both of which was when I returned to Vietnam after like a long time abroad. Permanently,
yeah.
So the first time was like in 7th grade, which is when I met you.
Yeah.
Not because of you, but because
I thought I was pretty nice to her.
She was very nice to me. Before that, I had lived like 4.5 years abroad. I was like learning Vietnamese for the first time in school. I had never learned formal Vietnamese before. So that was like really hard. When I went to uni, so 4 years abroad again, went back to Vietnam, and then I had like the same
thing,
anger issues, and like my leg was hurting from stress.
Oh, from stress, really?
Yeah.
For me, it's my lower back.
Yeah, both times. And it was only like 3 years later when I like put 2 and 2 together. I was like, oh, I have like a reverse culture shock adaptation or lack thereof, like a mechanism. So I guess just like big changes coming back here.
Yeah. I can totally understand why that would shock anyone. Yeah, after living like abroad so long, especially where your personality and your way you do things was developed in like a completely different country. Yeah. So yeah, I get that.
You want another one?
Yeah, one other one.
Yeah.
Because that was such a hard question. Why I picked that one?
That was a level 3. You can choose a level 1. Show it to the camera too.
What has been the most happiest moment of your life and brought you the most joy, and why? You go. I asked you first.
I think there are multiple happy moments, but I'll pick one. I don't think it's like the happiest. Yeah. That would take me some time to think about it. But one of the happy moments was when I had graduated college. Yeah. And I had packed up all my bags, sold off everything in my apartment, bought like a big backpacking backpack. Yeah. And then just flew from Philadelphia, left everything there, flew to Montana.
Oh, God.
And I lived in the mountains with like goats. Damn. That was a really fun time.
Happiest moment? I don't really know. Actually, this might contrast to what I said earlier, but I think the happiest moment was when I was doing my master's at the LSE. but I left the UK to go back to Vietnam for 6 months. Yeah. That was when I was the most happiest because I knew I did the right choice regardless of the UK rule of not being able to stay. Because I left that whole situation behind, like to study at home. I had the emotional support of my parents and I got a lot happier. I actually failed my midterm at the LSE in the UK. But the moment I got back home, I studied really hard and I was passing like everything. But because of the hardest moment also leads to the happiest moment, that's why.
The hardest might be the happiest.
Maybe but it's like the following that was like the happiest. It wasn't like doing it, you know?
Yeah. Actually, that reminded me. I had a very recent happy moment recently. Beginning of January. Okay. I reconnected with friends from like 18 years ago from Australia. I haven't met any of the people that I hung out with in Australia in 3rd grade. So it's like 18 years now. So that section of my life is very like tucked away. Short, It's very compartmentalized. And then I saw this kid, like he posted a picture that he was in Sapa, like Cap Chiao Sapa. Yeah. And then I was like, hey, you look like you're in Vietnam. If you pass through Hanoi, let's grab a meal. Yeah. I had gone to primary school with him. Yeah. He was in like the other class, but somehow I hung out with him because we really enjoyed the monkey bars. Yeah. So we were able to grab a meal like the evening before they all flew out. And then he had 2 dudes travel with him. Yeah. And apparently I went to school with another dude.
You didn't know that.
Neither of us knew of each other. And I found like some home videos that my mom filmed back then of like performances. We did not find my friend, but we found the other dude in there. The other dude. Imagine like you go to a foreign country on vacation and then like you meet this random person and then they
apparently it wasn't the same year as you.
And then they have a video of you singing like Christmas carols or something.
Oh my God, yeah.
But no, that was very fun. I think because my childhood in Australia was a very happy time. So I credit like my parents for giving me like such a good childhood back then, and also Australia for being the place of that childhood. So like meeting them kind of like unlocked all those happy memories from when I was like 5.
Okay, I see.
So that was why it was like very happy.
That's incredible. That's better story than mine. What the hell?
I think it's like special in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, anyways, Lee, thank you so much for coming on.
That's okay. I'm happy to be on caddberrie channel on YouTube. Follow, like, and subscribe.
If the people want to find you, where can they find you? On what platform?
Oh, sorry.
For all her foodie content.
But but YouTube, Instagram, TikTok all have the same handle as Lee Rates the Fridge.
Oh, but no one has taken any of it yet. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And if this episode of Homie Highlights reminded you of anyone, you know what? Hit them up. Let them know you thought of them. Send them this video.
Hey!
Yes, and we'll catch you guys, or I'll catch you guys
In the next episode!
Bye! Hey, that was good singing. Good job. You wanna go for a walk?
Okay. Oh, my legs hurt. I can't stand up though. No.